Hey there, this is Citizenkong, and I'd like to start by thanking my subscribers. Got a pretty good group. I mean, I've been only doing this maybe a couple of weeks, and I've been getting a lot of good feedback, and the people that have been subscribing so far seem to be really, really sharp people. As usual, I'd like to thank DRSNK, my very first subscriber, and check him out because he's got a lot of good clips of talk radio. Stoneman182, I've had a lot of good dialogue with him. Seems to be very, very bright young man. Shock Treatment Head, who we've had a lot of dialogue and has been quite trying. He's and I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed the interplay, and I think that I've almost got him convinced that being liberal does not mean you have a mental disorder. And Keimon Ito, who at first was kind of mean, but in the spirit of the internet, we do that. And between guys, you can call a guy a fag or whatever, and it doesn't matter. I mean, I wasn't really honestly bothered by that, and I got a good message from him and some good feedback, and so I'm glad that he chose to subscribe, and I hope I keep him interested. And 73 Long, my most recent subscriber, sent me an article, a link to a web page. This is back on Michael Savage. Okay, so I talked maybe a lot about Michael Savage. I'd have to say I listened to him on the way home from work in the afternoons, and he gets me pretty riled up. And if it wasn't for him, I probably would have never made my first YouTube commentary. So I have to thank him. If you don't like what I have to say, you can blame him. Anyways, this is in the National Review Online, which is hardly. I looked at some of the other articles, and it's hardly a liberal type deal. I mean, most of the articles are very conservative, at least from my standpoint. And it's titled "Savaged: A radio talk show host pulls a fast one on fans." If you're interested in actually reading it, send me a message and I'll send you the link, okay? Actually, I had a hard time pulling it up on the browser. I had to copy and paste a couple times, but it finally came up. I don't know, there's something wrong with their server, or it could be my browser. So the interesting thing about Michael Savage, and it's like this whole thing started where I said, what's up with this guy? He can't be real. His past history that he started out liberal, hung out with Allen Ginsberg, and then he became very, very right-wing. And somebody said, well, don't you believe in human growth? Well, I believe that we can learn things and change, of course. I mean, that's actually liberal philosophy. We keep an open mind, and we look at stuff, and we reassess things. To be locked in an ideology is actually kind of scary. But the key part here is that one of the smoking gun, as it's called here, is that he contributed $5,600 to Jerry Brown's campaign. And his answer to that was, you have to make choices in an imperfect world. So anyway, I'm wondering, and this guy talks about it, that a lot of what Michael Savage, the severity of what he says, it's shtick. And in the story here, it says that one of his friends that knew him when he was younger said, that Michael was always looking for a way to make a buck. And maybe that's what he hit on, is that doing this really kind of caustic rant brings in ratings. And so anyway, it's something to think about. And let me remind you is that unlike Rush Limbaugh, I don't mind listening to people that disagree with me. As long as you have an intelligent thing to say and don't shout and call me names. A magazine that I read is called The Week, okay? And it's kind of like a best of the printed media. And I just want to touch on this real quick. It has to do with the privatizing of the military. And I mean, Bill Clinton, I don't think he's the one that started it, but he helped it along. But what they really took it on was Donald Rumsfeld and George Bush. In the Bush administration, they really went all out. And this article here, it says the casualties who are never honored. And it says right here, 917 dead and 12,000 wounded. And those aren't soldiers, those are private workers. Those are people that drive the trucks and serve the food. And working class people that need to make the mortgage and took on these jobs in Iraq. And maybe they work for Halliburton or whatever, but I mean, we hear about the soldiers that die and support the troops, but there are Americans over there that are dying, and it's just sad. It says that we have 130,000 contractors over there. This privatization, for the most part, I'm against privatization. I'm against about privatizing power, privatizing your water, privatizing medicine. I mean, I am a social democrat, and I think that there's some things that big government do well. My father was involved in the Manhattan Project. Do you think you could have privatized a nuclear bomb? No, you need big money and investment and single-mindedness to do stuff. Did privatization put a man on the moon? No. There are things that big government can do well. Of course, big government be scary, all right? I'll go along with that. I mean, sometimes I hate the government. Okay. Another thing I'd like to hear from is, and I've heard from a couple people, like Shock Treatment Head. He likes Ron Paul. Who do you like? Who do you like that's running for president? I mean, obviously, if I were to vote Republican, I like Ron Paul because he's going to stir things up. He's pretty much libertarian, and libertarians agree with liberals in the fact that we want personal freedom. We don't want the government like butting in our business. Libertarians, though, don't want to pay taxes, and progressives tend to believe, hey, man, you gotta pay your taxes because we need our roads, we need our schools, we need our fire department, we need our police department. So to not pay taxes is kind of out there. And like legalizing heroin's kind of out there too, but libertarians, the ones I talk to, think that's a good idea. I don't know, just legalize the soft stuff, I say. All right. Yeah, so I'm curious about that. I mean, as far as the Democrats, sure, man, I switch back and forth between Barack Obama. I really wish Al Gore would come back. Hillary might get it, but I don't think she can win. She's just too divisive. And I don't, you know, I don't know. But when you listen to the right or the right pundits or the people that hate Hillary, they hate her for all the wrong reasons. They hate her because her legs are too thick or they think she's ugly. That's nothing to go by. I mean, she's really, really bright. What I don't like about her is that she does seem cold and calculating, and in women that's unattractive. But I'm not going to marry her. So just make Margaret Thatcher was good. I mean, the conservatives loved her. Anyways, I mean, I didn't love Margaret Thatcher, but all right. So let me wind this down. Let me just say, if you haven't seen V for Vendetta, see this movie. Every time I watch it, I get inspired to go and, excuse me, fuck shit up. All right. V for Vendetta shows a lot of what's wrong in the world or could happen in the world, and it shows what fascism can be like, and in some cases, anyway. V for Vendetta, recommend it highly, along with 1984. Read the book, watch the movie. All right, that's it. Citizenkong signing off. Cheers.